Hello and welcome to Bristol Health Cares. I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. I am the president and CEO of Bristol Health. This program is for you. It's really about how you navigate the system of care, how you access care, and it's really about trying to answer questions you may have and really didn't know who to ask. We are going to bring to you professionals, doctors, surgeons, other healthcare professionals throughout our system of care, maybe people that you've never talked to before or met before, but the goal is to really help you understand how to access care when you need it. You're going to enjoy this program. This program is really for you. So what's important is if there is something that you want to learn about or know about or a guest that you'd like me to host on this show, write us and we'll try to make that happen for you. So enjoy the program, Bristol Health Cares. Hello and welcome to this episode of Bristol Health Cares. I am Kurt Barwis, your host, and today we have Isabella Pratt with us. She's an exciting guest. She is a dietitian at the hospital, and she supports our bariatric program, our weight loss program, and is located both in the medical center and in the hospital. Good morning, Isabella.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
It's great to have you. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Of course. So I'm actually our outpatient and our bariatric dietitian. So I get to work with pretty much the entire population of our hospital, which is pretty awesome and a great variety for me to see every day. And I get to see people 9 to 5, work with them on their diet, their medical history, and talk about food, which is honestly my favorite part of all of it.
Food, yeah, I love food too. So how about your background? Like, tell me a little bit about your schooling and what you did and how you got to be a dietitian.
Of course. So I grew up, as many people did, probably watching their mothers go through an immense amount of diets, from Weight Watchers to keto to paleo to Beachbody little measuring cups. And I always knew that there must be something more to your diet than following these crazy restrictive diets left and right and going through weight cycling. So I took it upon myself that I needed to study this so I could help my own mother out and figure it out, which is still a work in progress. But then I went to Keene State College in New Hampshire, where I studied nutrition science as well as public health and public health promotion. And I got a minor in environmental sustainability. So I was able to look at the whole picture of food, how it affects our health and the health of our environment. Then while I was there, unfortunately, COVID did hit, but I was able to learn a bit more about plant-based nutrition through Cornell, where I did an online program learning about the new wave of nutrition and how we can prevent chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes through a more plant-based approach. And then to become a dietitian, you have to complete a supervised practice program. So I was lucky enough to get matched to Hartford Hospital and UConn's program. Fortunately, Bristol doesn't have that program. Otherwise, I would have tried to do it here. But Hartford Hospital was a great environment for me to learn from, being such a big hospital. But I definitely do like a more small scale to work in. But I was able to do master's courses through UConn and do all of my inpatient clinical rotations, working on the GI unit in the ICU, learning about tube feeds and TPN. But my heart was always with outpatient. I wanted to sit down with somebody and talk to them, work with them on real life aspects of nutrition, like where do I grocery shop? What do I get from the store? How am I going to cook this? How am I going to feed my husband who probably doesn't want to eat this quinoa? And so I get to help them out with that. So I've always been super inspired. I've run a food blog for a long time where I post recipes and cook. So I've always been very passionate, and now it's all just, I'm getting to use it every day, which is even better.
I'm getting exhausted just hearing all this stuff. It's amazing what you've accomplished, and it seems like your heart is completely in what you do.
100%.
It's not just a job; it's like your calling.
It is,
which is really, I think, what our culture is all about at Bristol Health, which is really cool. So a big part of what you do is motivate people and get people engaged. Yeah. So how do you do that?
Yeah. So one of the actual big pieces about studying nutrition in undergrad, I really thought it was just going to be food science classes and biochemistry and learning about the science of food. But I had to take a lot on behavior change and get certifications in motivational interviewing, because as much as I don't think I'm a therapist, sometimes I do find myself playing a therapist when we talk about weight and food and motivation. And so I've learned quite a lot about the language that you use with patients, as well as finding what motivates them. And that's why I love having consistent follow-ups with patients. I don't just see you once, then I set some goals for you that would work unique to your lifestyle. Then I'll follow up with you as frequently as you need. If you feel like you struggle with motivation, we can follow up every 2 to 3 weeks. If you feel like you're doing good, we can follow up every couple months. So the goal setting is a huge piece of my visits with patients.
So how does somebody come to you? I mean, how does that happen? Is it a referral from a doctor? Is it someone that says, I just don't feel great about myself, and and I need to get some help? How does that happen? Yeah,
so you can go through it one of 2 ways. If you happen to see me out and about, I can definitely help you figure out how to get into me, and I can go through your doctor. But the more preferred way is that you reach out to your primary doctor or whichever doctor you're seeing regularly and say, hey, here's what I'm going through. Do you think it would be a good idea for me to see a dietitian? More than likely not. I can help you with something. So then your provider will put in a referral to me, and then you'll get called to schedule your appointment, or you can call me to directly schedule, and I'll get a referral with any diagnostic codes you might have. And it's really nice if you're also in the Bristol network, because then I get to see your full medical history, get to see all the providers that you follow up with, so I can really get a big picture about your health before you even come into your appointment. So I don't have to ask you, what medications are you on? What's your medical history? Because I will have already known that because you already see the providers.
That's excellent. And so somebody who comes to see you, how easy is it to get an appointment with you?
So it depends on the day and it depends on your schedule. So I am actually pretty flexible with my schedule. So if you work 8 to 4:30 every day and you're like, I just can't see myself getting time off, I do have a couple late appointments, or I do come in early a few days a week. So I'm very flexible with you. The first one, you might have to be a little bit more flexible with me, but then I will book all of your follow-ups depending on when you can get in. So the first appointment might take a little bit longer, probably about a month to get in, but then after that I can book you as frequently as you'd like.
That's awesome. So tell me, give me a couple of success stories that you've had.
Yeah.
I mean,
definitely. So I love to talk about this. I love to hear when people come in, and that's what makes it all worth it, honestly. And so I had a patient recently who, she had weight loss surgery in the past, about 15 years ago, and she was experiencing some serious GI distress every time she ate. She just could not seem to keep the food down and was having crazy cramping, and she was telling me how she didn't feel comfortable going into work. She had to start working from home. She didn't feel comfortable leaving the house because she wasn't sure what would happen if she had to go to the bathroom. And so she randomly had a referral to me, and it was from our bariatric office, actually, who thought, hey, just check her out. And when she came in, she was a little frustrated. She's like, I don't know why they sent me to you. I don't know what you're going to do for me. I don't think this is related to my weight loss surgery, but, I guess I'll just have this visit. And I do get that quite a bit. People don't really know why they come in. But ultimately, what I went through with her was we realized she needed to kind of increase her fiber a little bit. I think it was more of an IBS type reaction. And I actually gave her a couple book recommendations to read. I gave her some recipes to try, more of a structured meal schedule to follow. And she came back in about a month and a half later, just in tears, like, I cannot believe it, but I'm taking my first trip that I've taken in 6 months. I finally feel comfortable leaving the house.
Wow.
I think my gut just needed more fiber to increase and improve my digestion. And now she's been happier than ever. She's able to eat really comfortably again. And it's pretty impressive what you can do through food when kind of people have no idea, because you have such a complicated medical history of where to start.
Yeah, that is an awesome story. And I know from my dad went through all these changes, and exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
There was a point at which he felt uncomfortable going out. He had to be near a bathroom all the time.
Exactly.
And finally went and had a nutritional counseling appointment and stopped eating certain things, ate some other things, and wow, it was he was a different person, and really his quality of life was just so enhanced from it.
Exactly.
And you're right, I don't think people connect those things necessarily all the time. How hard is it for insurance? I mean, it would seem that logical that insurance companies would support nutritional counseling. Is that?
Yeah, that is an issue I've run into in the past. I would say probably the majority, 75% of insurance does cover. Husky specifically covers everything, which is awesome.
Wow.
Because I know we do have a lot of Husky patients. The only issues that I run into ever are with Medicare sometimes, but you can call your Medicare rep to see if they do cover, depending on your medical history. For example, if you have a diagnosis of diabetes or kidney disease, then you can get in. If you've had weight loss surgery in the past, usually they do let you come in. But I always tell all my patients, before their first visit, call your insurance company, see how many visits are covered in a year, if they are covered at all.
Right.
And usually if you have a secondary as well, like if you have Husky secondary, you're always good to go.
Yeah, so a lot of people go through and try to solve the problems of weight on their own.
Exactly.
And I mean, I remember going on a low carb diet for 2 years and dropping incredible weight, like 30 pounds. And then it was like one day I woke up and I couldn't eat that stuff anymore. I just, my whole body just shut down. But I did feel good. So how about these fad diets? I mean, you know, what do you want to tell the viewing audience about them? I'm curious.
Exactly. And so one of the big pieces of what I studied, as I mentioned, was sustainability, whether it's environmental or diet related. And I try to look into a diet approach that is sustainable for both the patient to maintain long term and for their health. And so when you look at fad diets, like something like keto or paleo, or something that's requiring you to count something every day, something that's requiring you to cut out entire food groups, like nutrient groups, like carbs, how sustainable is that long term for you to never eat a carb again?
Oh, it's so true.
Never
I mean, it's so true. It's like when that switch went off and I couldn't eat more peanuts. I couldn't eat more meat and sausage and all the bad things. It was like I craved all that other stuff. It was like, wow.
Exactly. And so I try to get to the point to the patients that, hey, you're trying to lose weight. You want to sustain that weight loss, don't you? You don't want to just lose weight while you're on the diet and then the second you come off the diet, gain it all back. So if you want to sustain your results or whatever your goal is, your diet needs to be sustainable for you. So a little bit more of a moderate approach, which people don't always love. People like black and white. People like a diet. They want a meal plan that they can follow every day. But some birthday party's going to come up, some vacation's going to come up, and then they're going to fall off, and then it's going to be even harder. So sustainability is the biggest key I can give everybody.
So how about the people that, and I might be one of these people, I work out in the morning, I try to like burn off like 400 or 500 calories, and then I count my calories during the day. So there's a lot of people that, you know, faithfully every day work out to manage their weight. Now, I read something recently that said that that's not necessarily ideal because you think you're burning those calories, but if you keep doing the same thing every day to work out, your body gets used to it and it really doesn't have the same effect.
Exactly. And calories in versus calories out is a very popular way of thought process really for weight loss. But over time, and I've seen this actually the most in the bariatric office specifically, is that it doesn't work long term because your metabolism does not just go by calories in versus calories out. So if you undereat for a while, you overexercise and undereat, essentially you'll be burning more calories than you're consuming. You will lose weight in the beginning, but then your body will become used to this new norm of less calories than you need. So it will start to store what you have. And then it kind of puts a little lock on your fat because it's like, I don't know when I'm getting in enough food again. And so then it makes it even harder for you to lose weight. And so honestly, the majority, about half of the patients who I get in the weight loss surgery office come in and they've struggled with weight their whole lives. They're not eating fast food every day. They're not drinking 2-liter bottles of soda. They're eating maybe one small meal a day, skipping throughout the day, and they're unsure as to why they can't lose weight. But it's because they've slowed down their metabolic function so much, the body doesn't feel comfortable with letting them lose weight.
Wow. That was an incredible explanation. It really kind of works for me. So how, like, as people get older, you hear all these, you know, advertisements and articles about, you know, how to keep your cognitive, you know, your brain power up and the relationship to food and nutrition. Is that stuff true?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. And there's a really cool book. And I remember this is another thing that my mom was looking at was there's a cool book called The Alzheimer's Solution, How to Prevent Alzheimer's Through Diet. Now, I don't know if you can exactly just prevent it through your diet, but there's a lot of cool talk in there about what certain nutrients do to our brain power. So something like sugar. Sugar, unfortunately, is a pretty addictive nutrient. So it does give our brain these receptors that say, hey, I want more, I want more, I want more. And then you can't really focus on other things, and it can lead to more of an addictive eating nature. But if you're eating a diet high in omega-3 fatty acids, more so like the Mediterranean style diet, lots of good seafood, wild caught if you can, lots of healthy fats from like olives and nuts, things like that, that can really help improve your brain function a little bit.
Yeah, I struggle with those olives, with the salt in those olives.
Yes, and that is another struggle.
Just living with someone who has to watch, the water issue, which is very common, people with cardiac issues.
Definitely.
Counting all that salt and avoiding the things that, like what you just said, the olive oil is like great, the olives are great, but it's an immediate problem for some of the older people who have to watch their salt intake. So, so there's really, it sounds to me like being aware, like, it sounds like the people that come into you are very aware of what they eat and are trying to manage it.
Exactly.
They just need help. They need help in kind of breaking it apart. And so, so it's almost like you're, kind of like looking at, like you were talking earlier about seeing the medical record, understanding medications, because medications can clearly have an impact on it. How about alcohol?
Yeah.
Let's talk about alcohol, because I've had a number of people recently say to me, I don't drink alcohol anymore, and I've been able to manage my weight. And somebody actually said to me, and I feel smarter.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I didn't know that was an issue for you. But
I know.
Seriously.
Alcohol is a very tough one, because I do want people to kind of enjoy life in moderation, and you will have times where events are happening and you will drink a little bit, and that's okay. But I like to look at, I like to be very goal oriented. So what is your exact goal in the short term and the long term? For weight loss specifically, something funny about alcohol is that alcohol gets metabolized through our liver. And so if you're drinking alcohol, all your liver can care about is, I have a toxin in my body right now, I need to get rid of it. And your liver's working overtime to help kind of push out this alcohol. But if you're also trying to lose weight, your liver needs to look at the fat and try to help metabolize some of that fat. And so as long as you're drinking, your body can never fully focus on weight loss, because that alcohol will always take precedence. So it's really tough for weight loss in particular, but it is also tough for brain function as well. Definitely does not help there. And there was a pretty new study that came out where in the past it was known that 1 drink a day for women was generally recognized as safe, 2 drinks a day for men. New study came out that said, how about no drinks is safe? So now I kind of try to encourage patients, hey, save it for those occasions. Try not to overdo it either.
So the red wine myth is not real.
Yeah, with red wine, it's funny. If you're in Italy, if you're in Greece, you're drinking red wine that is from these beautiful nutrient-rich grapes over there. The nutrient quality is a little bit different than the wine that we probably get at a liquor store over here.
Yeah.
But the amount of wine that you would need to drink to get enough of the resveratrol, the nutrient that a lot of people look for in there, to actually make health benefits, would just have you drinking so much alcohol that it would defeat the purpose of the resveratrol.
I did actually read that. But I still think it's, anyway.
A little bit. It's Mediterranean.
But, yeah, sure. And then you look at the blue zones. I mean, Sardinia, for example, and part of their diet is their wine.
Exactly.
I mean, right? So
that's one of the books that I recommend. I have 3 books in this bookshelf in my office. And if any of my patients are watching, they'll know that's one that I really recommend for a full lifestyle approach. Because the blue zones is really cool because it looks at your social well-being, as well as your diet, as well as your lifestyle. And I try to take into account, yes, these things are really healthy for those people in those regions where it is realistic, but how can we pull these blue zones, the key aspects to living longer, and put them in your lifestyle where you can't necessarily walk to a grocery store, where you're not getting food right out of a garden. So I try to make it a little bit more realistic, but it's a great book for people to read too.
Yeah, I think the thing that people talk most about is in those blue zones, people live to be 100 plus years old. But they actually live there for their whole life. And as you said, it's the entire environment that, and it's also, it gets back to, it could be stress and work and all that other stuff. And so having visited some of those places, it's a very chill environment, a very relaxed environment. So how about vitamins? Good, take the vitamins, don't take the vitamins.
One of the biggest questions I get with my patients, they walk in that door, can you just tell me what vitamins I should be taking? Should I go get a multi? Please just tell me, what do I need? And I like to say, first, let's get some blood work done. Let's look at your levels. Yes, a multivitamin can be just generally safe for most people. Definitely recommend vitamin D for the majority. We're usually pretty low, especially through the winter months. But nothing can beat getting some blood work done so we can see what you're actually deficient in, if you need anything, because I don't want you to waste your money buying vitamins every day if you don't really need them.
So one of the things I think is common for individuals have had abdominal surgery, including bariatric surgery, is B12 deficiency. Is that I think that's true, right?
Yes, definitely.
And I think a lot of people, seniors, don't realize they may have had abdominal surgery at some point in their life. And I maybe I'm getting this wrong, but that your digestive tract is where the B12 is absorbed through the foods.
Yeah.
And so you might have actually had a part of your digestive system that removed and resected or put back together again. That was where you absorbed all those things. And so I know that can cause all kinds of problems, like numbness in your feet. You know, can cause instability, all these things. And so is that, you know, when you're talking to individuals, I mean, you're going to go through, like, tell me what's going on, tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just what do you eat, what vitamins do you take, it's all those things. And I'm sure you've probably identified individuals that had these kind of deficiencies. So do you order blood work and stuff?
Yeah, so what I do, unfortunately, as a dietitian, I can't order the blood work, but I definitely refer them to go and get it done. And something that's great for me is that in our outpatient office, I see a lot of the post-weight loss surgery patients, whether they're 5 years out, 10 years out, and I'm very well connected with our weight loss surgery office. So I can just reach out and say, hey, I'm seeing this patient. Can you order a vitamin and mineral panel for them? The PA will order it, no problem, because she knows I'm following up with them and I want to make sure they're good. And then I go through our recommended supplements with them, what I recommend you should be taking. And then once your blood work comes back in, we'll see if we can send you any prescriptions. So it is through the physician, but I do communicate with the physician if I feel like the patient needs something specifically.
Yeah, I know going through this with my father, because he had, you know, episodes of falling, instability, and took him for an assessment with a neurologist. And the first thing they identified was severe B12 deficiency, and it was related to abdominal surgery. And when his primary care physician was ordering tests for him, it wasn't part of the standard panel as he got older, and it was completely missed. So he ended up having to get shots like once a week until he got it back. But the B12 vitamin, does that actually improve your B12?
So B12 is a funny one because this is something that we see a lot in post-weight loss surgery patients as well. And so for B12, what we actually recommend is if you're super low, you can obviously get an infusion and injection. But B12 is better absorbed as a nose spray or a sublingual tablet that sits under your tongue. So for husky patients, crazy enough, they cover B12 nose spray. So you can get that through your insurance if it's ordered by your provider. But I usually recommend there's like a nature-made sublingual tablet. It's like $5 at any grocery store for 100 little tablets.
Sublingual tablet.
And you put it under your tongue and it just dissolves. And that's the best way that you can absorb B12.
Wow. So we're coming towards the end. So tell me, you know, what do you want to tell the viewing audience about nutrition, and what's the big thing that you want them to take away from this?
Definitely. So eating more plants is one of the main things that I can recommend for anybody. I don't need you to go plant-based, but eating a lot of fiber, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, beans, nuts, and seeds, for the majority of people will honestly make a difference in their diet. And if you're specifically focused on weight management, getting an adequate protein as well is really important for maintaining your muscle mass, staying fuller longer. And so if anybody has come to my appointments, they know protein and fiber are my top 2 nutrients of focus. Tell everybody to focus on. And overall, keep your diet sustainable, keep it maintainable for you over time, and stay hydrated.
So it sounds like, too, it's that focus on your health.
It is.
It's the overall focus on health, and don't be afraid to ask for the consult to go to a nutritional appointment, because it could actually change your life. I mean, it could. So thank you, Isabella. This has been absolutely great, and maybe I'll get an appointment to come over and talk to you myself, and you'll tell me all the things I really should be doing. But so thank you for joining us today. This episode of Bristol Health Cares. Big thanks to Nutmeg TV, and honestly, this is a great asset for our community. And if you're not supporting Nutmeg, please support Nutmeg, because they make these kind of programs possible. You can write me and write us at cares@bristolhospital.org with your questions and concerns, and we'll try to address them on future programs. But at this point, have a wonderful day, enjoy, and check out nutritional counseling, all right? Take care. It was great having you here today. Thanks. I'm your host, Kurt Barwis. Today, I have a very special guest, Dr. Andrew Lim.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Veterans Corner. My name's Chuck Wooden.
Decision for ourselves for this week if we want to be made well.
Hi, welcome to the crack of dawn. It's Dawn Lombardi. I'm starting the painting. It's going to be the cliffs with some water. Love it.
He took me on the sets of Lost in Space, Batman.
Everybody has a story. What's yours? Until next time.